Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Okay, good day. You're welcome to yet another biological session. I remember your host. I'm Oshito Molajide, aka Smoking Brain. As you all know, this program is powered by Fusion Mobile e-learning platform, a solution clinic. It's actually a place to be. So today we'll be looking at evolution under biology, and here are my outlines. We'll be looking at the meaning of evolution. We'll be looking at the evidences to show that evolution has taken place before and is still taking place. And we'll look at the theories of evolution, and lastly we'll look at evolutionary trend in organisms. So the first question for today is, what is evolution? What is evolution? And now it interests me to tell you that evolution is the sum total of adaptive changes from pre-existing forms, from old forms, which leads to the development or evolvement of new forms, new structures, and diversities. I take it again. Now, evolution is the sum total of adaptive changes from pre-existing organisms, which led to the development or improvement in forms, in diversities, in structures, and functions of living organisms. I take it for the last time. Evolution can be defined as the sum total of adaptive changes that have occurred in the forms of pre-existing organisms. Like, for example, now organisms that are dated back to like 100 of years ago, 150 years ago. They have some forms that have now been improved upon. Are you with me? Now, the forms that they tend to have now is not the forms they had then. Now, the environment has played a trickish one on them, and they have now evolved over time. Now, for every change in the environment, there is a response. And so, the response of these organisms to these changes led to the development of forms, led to the development of specialized organs, and which have specialized functions. So, for the last time, a gradual change in forms of living organisms over time is what we call evolution. Now, when the concept of time is not there, it cannot be called evolution. Evolution is actually something that you don't get to see in a day, you don't get to see in a year, you don't get to see in decades, you get to see it in hundreds of years. Are you with me? So evolution can only be evolution if the concept of time is being maintained. So having established the fact that evolution is a gradual process or the sum total of adaptive changes, we will now move further and we'll be looking at the evidences for evolution. Okay, so now we will be looking at the evidences of evolution, the facts and figures of evolution, the data to support the claim of evolution. And one of them is this: evidences of evolution. And number one is what we call fossil records. Fossil records. We have evidences from comparative anatomy. We have evidences from geographical distribution. Geographical distribution. We have evidences. Okay, so now we will be looking at the evidences of evolution. As I said earlier, the facts and figure are supporting the claim of evolution. Now, before now, I've been able to establish the fact that the gradual process of change of a living organism, the gradual process of change of a living organism into more advanced form is called evolution. The process by which there is a change in the form, in the structure, in the diversity, in the functions of the part of a living organism over time is what we call evolution. Evolution does not just take place in a twinkle of an eye. It does not take place within days. No, it actually takes place. It spans over a long period of time. And so we will now be looking at the evidences of evolution. And number one is what we call fossil records. Now, I start by defining what fossils are. Fossils are the remains of plants and animals that have decayed over a long period of time. I repeat, fossils are the remains of plants and animals that have decayed over a long period of time. Now, as a matter of fact, we get to know the ages of rocks, we get to know the ages of sediments, we get to know the ages of skeleton that have decayed over a long period of time by employing a method or a process called radioisotope dating. radioisotope dating. Now, what is radioisotope dating? Radioisotope dating is simply an act of using carbon-14 to determine the age of rocks, the age of plants, or the age of skeleton. You happen to stumble across a particular thing that has spanned for a long period of time, and you want to know the years, the accurate years of that particular organism, plant, or whatever it is. You make use of radioisotope dating. Use carbon-14 to know the exact age of that organism, as the case may be. So fossil records have shown that evolution has really taken place, because most times we stumble across skeletons, we stumble across structures, and when we examine these structures, we notice that the way they are now is not the way they were then. We notice that there have been a sharp change in the structure, in the forms, a sharp change leading to the development of the organisms that we have now. And so, aside from fossil record, what we call the evidences from comparative anatomy. Anatomy is simply the study of the internal structures of the living organisms. The structure of the lungs, the liver, the skin, the kidney. When you study this structure, over time you tend to notice that these structures tend to look like that of other organisms. Now, it has now been seen that even the comparative anatomy of man, you and I, humans so to speak, have a resemblance with that of lower organisms. They have resemblance with that of birds, that of amphibians, and that of fishes over time. Are you with me? So there is a particular affirmation I'm going to make today. It is worthy of note that life begins from water. Water, land. Now forget all those concepts of mami water and all that. Now this biology, we deal with facts. Now, water and land. Life begins from water. Now, before life was actually seen on land, it was first seen on water. And that's why when we're looking at it evolutionarily, you would notice that the first organisms to colonize the water were actually fishes. And so we call them Pisces. So from Pisces, we now have the amphibians. And that's why when you study the amphibians closely, you would notice that they have gills. Are you with me? Now, fishes have gills. Now, fishes now evolve into amphibians. Amphibians also have gills. But over time, there is now a sharp development. The gills is now modified, functioning highly than that of fishes. So can we just go back to what we've got at that? So there is a resemblance in the comparative anatomy of humans compared to other lower organisms. And now we have evidences from geographical distribution. It has also been seen that organisms that we tend to see in a particular area now were not there before. Now, over time, they have evolved. Over time, they have responded to the changes. Over time, they have been chased away by drought, by pestilences, by natural disasters. And they now change a location. And in that location, they have now become fit to that location by responding positively to the changes in the environment. Now, we also have evidences from domesticated organisms. Now, a very good example of a domesticated organism that we know of is our dog. Now, it has been proven over time that the dog usually, before now, they stay in the forest. And over time, due to the involvement of man with animals, the dog was now brought home. And I just sit and imagine things. Now, imagine bringing a dog for the very first time from the wild, from the forest, and you tend to bring it to your house. Now, the way the dog will behave is not the way the dog that we have now are behaving. Because then it won't be that easy, coming home and seeing a kind of room with AC, factory-fitted AC, and TV and every other thing. And the dog will be like, where is this place? Where is this place? And the dog will just be like, what is happening? What is happening? But over time, the dog now learns to respond positively. And that's why many times you see a dog in front of TV watching Super Sport and watching every other thing. So there have been a gradual changes in the behavior, in the structure and forms of these organisms. Are you with me? So lastly, we would be looking at, before then we'll be looking at embryology. It has also been shown that the embryo of humans has a resemblance with that of lower organisms as well, such as fishes. As a matter of fact, there have been a gradual development from the embryo of fishes called Pisces, to that of amphibians, to that of reptiles, to that of birds, and to that of mammals. There is a gradual development in their embryo. And finally, it gets to mammal. So lastly, we'll be looking at vestigial organs. There are vestigial organs present in the body of mammals. What are vestigial organs? These are organs that have no specific function in the body. These are organs that have no specific function in the body. Your guess is as good as mine. A very good example, as we all know, is what? The appendix. It is the appendix. The appendix. The appendix in the human body has no specific function. Mind you, the surgical removal of the appendix is called appendectomy. It's called appendectomy. That's the surgical removal of the appendix. As I said earlier, the appendix has no specific function in the body. As a matter of fact, the appendix is synonymous to the caecum in herbivores. It's synonymous to the caecum in herbivores. They have no specific function, so to speak. That has also been proven over time that mammals have got tail. Yeah, they have tail. But the tail has, over time, it has evolved and it has no important function in the body. So having established the evidences for evolution, I would really love us to go through it again. So the evidences of evolution are fossil record, evidence from comparative anatomy, evidence from geographical distribution, from domesticated organisms, embryology, and vestigial organisms. So now we'll be looking at the theories of evolution. The theories of evolution. Okay, so now we'll be looking at the theories of evolution. There are basically two theories of evolution. One we have Lamarckism, and we have Darwinism. We have Lamarckism and we have Darwinism. Now Lamarckism is what we're going to be looking at firstly. Now Lamarckism was actually propounded or postulated by a French biologist. He is called Jean, as guess maybe, Baptiste Lamarck. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. It was one that propounded the Lamarckism theory. So now what is a Lamarckism theory? The Lamarckism theory is known as a theory of use and disuse. That is what the theory is about. It's known as the theory of use and disuse. He propounded this theory in 1801. I take it again. There are basically two theories of evolution. We have Lamarckism and we have Darwinism. Lamarckism was propounded by Jean-Baptiste Lamarck in 1801. The theory is known as the theory of use and disuse. Now, what is this theory really talking about? Now, he started by saying that the environment results in changes in species. Now, these changes led to the development of specialized organs. Now, some organs in the body, some specialized organs in the body, so to speak, are used than other ones. Like what I'm trying to say is this. Imagine you having like two different organs in your body, specialized organs. Now, you tend to use this particular organ than the other organ. You tend to spend more time on a particular organ compared to the other. Now, a time will come when you'll be so specialized in this particular organ and you'll be paying less attention to this particular organ. It now went further to say that that particular structure, that specialized structure that you spend more time using, will now be transferred to your next generation. In other words, he's trying to say that acquired characters can be inherited. Acquired characters can be inherited. Now, this was one of his claims. A claim that acquired characters can be inherited. And now he made use of a giraffe. Now, he said the giraffe was actually standing before a tree, and the tree happens to be at the same level with the giraffe. Now, the giraffe could easily just pick fruits, pick whatever from the tree. And now, he now said, imagine that giraffe standing in front of a tall tree. So, the giraffe needs to get that particular fruit. The giraffe needs to get that particular food. The giraffe needs to survive. And so, the giraffe tends to elongate his neck. Elongate. So, as time goes on, he kept on doing it day in, day out. Then he now became specialized. And he now said that's why giraffe has long neck. That, the first giraffe that tried it, now gave it to other giraffes with long neck. Now, one thing is this. In as much as we find fault with his postulation, we still have to give him the due respect. Because it's not easy in 1801 thinking like this. Even in this present century, people think in a way that you just be like, is this human? So it's not easy. Even in 1801, thinking like this, it's not easy. However, his theory was not widely accepted. Again, the theory is about the use and disuse of parts. He said when you use more a particular part compared to the other, you tend to be specialized more in that part compared to the other. He said this part that you're now specializing will now be transferred to your future generation. In other words, his claim is that acquired characters can be inherited, and this is not true. Acquired characters cannot be inherited. Now, just take for example now, it happens that I went to steal and they cut off part of my hand, and so I'm with sleeveless, I'm with short sleeve, I've got just this, and my hand is just like this. And now if I happen to sleep with this young lady, her name is Sade, okay, we got married and we had sexual intercourse, and she now, we should give it to a person with this same defect, we should give it to a person with this same disability. No, it is not so. And so acquired characters cannot be inherited. Now in 1859, a particular man came up. His name is Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin is known today as the father of evolution. In 1859, a particular man came up. He's called Charles Darwin. He is known today as the father of evolution. His theory is called the theory of what? Natural selection. His theory is called the theory of natural selection. Now this natural selection, what is he talking about? Now what he's saying is this. He said, there are changes in species. And what results in these changes in species is the environment. And so in other words, he's saying that the environment affects species. And these species now change over time. He now said, it gets to a time where the resources in the environment is limited. But the need for that resources is actually increasing in a kind of manner that is not in correlation with the limited resources. And this is what I'm trying to say. Okay, we're like 50 in one room and we have like 5 biscuits. Now, you see that the resources available is not in linear relationship with the demand of the people. Now, if you now get to a time where, okay, the organisms will tend to give birth and people tend to produce more offspring in a generation. Now, when more offspring are produced, competition will now set in. So at the time where competition sets in, it is people that are better fit to the environment that will survive. So in other words, you can also call his theory the survival of the fittest. It is people that are better fit to the environment. It is people that have money in the bank account that will survive. If you look at that in the time of recession, and despite the fact that people are shouting that there is no money, there is no this, there are people that are buying latest cars. Are you with me? So it is actually those people that are surviving in this scenario. It is those people that are surviving in this situation. So basically, he talked about the fact that the population is increasing, people are giving birth every day, but the resources that is actually available to satisfy these people is limited. So a time will now come when people that are better fit, people that have ability that other people don't have, people that possess this ability in that environment will now be kind of, they would appear bossy. They would now stay when others are even dying off. So a time will now come when those people that are only available in the environment are people with that special ability. And this is what I'm trying to say. We have 50 people. 50 people with special ability. 50 with special ability, and we have like, okay, we've got 50 people with ordinary ability. Now a time will come, if resources continue to diminish, a time will come when these 50 people will no longer be found. It will just be these 50 people. And when these 50 people give birth, they only give birth to other 50 people that are special as well. Are you with me? So basically we have two different theories. We have the theories of Lamarck and we have the theories of Darwin. Lamarckism and Darwinism. Lamarckism was propounded in 1801 by Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. Darwinism was provided by Charles Darwin in 1859. His theory talks about natural selection and his theory is widely accepted. His theory talks about use and disuse. His theory is not accepted. His theory is not accepted. His theory is not accepted. He laid claim on the fact that acquired characters are heritable. They can be inherited. Like for example, now when the father loses his eye and is given birth, he will probably give birth to a child that does not have eyes as well. So that was actually his claim. Now Darwinism is now saying that the environment have a part to play in determining the kind of species that we tend to see over time. That is his claim. He laid hold on the influence of the environment, and he propounded this again in 1859. His theory is also known as the survivor of the fittest. And so lastly, we would now be looking at the evolutionary trend in organisms. Evolutionary trend in organisms. Okay, so lastly, we would be looking at evolutionary trends in organisms. Evolutionary trends in organisms. Now, there are basically two trends. One is unicellular to multicellular. Unicellular to multicellular. And now let's quickly look at this before we move to the other one. Unicellular to multicellular. Let's look at plants. Unicellular to multicellular. Now it has been seen over time that evolution actually begins from unicellular organisms to multicellular organisms. And so, still following that trend, the first unicellular organisms that we tend to see that are plants are the algae. Now after the algae, we came in contact with the bryophyte. After the bryophyte, we came in contact with the pteridophyte. After the pteridophyte, we came in contact with the, okay, what do I call? We came in contact with the spermatophyte. With the spermatophyte. Or basically, let's just call it, we came in contact with the tracheophyte. With the tracheophyte. And in this tracheophyte, we first came in contact with the gymnosperms. With the gymnosperms. Then after this, we came across the angiosperms. So this is the evolutionary trend in plants. The algae, they are the simplest organisms, followed by bryophyte, pteridophyte, the tracheophytes, which are gymnosperms. Then after gymnosperms, we came in contact with the angiosperms. And now let's quickly move to that of animals. Now the first ones were actually the protozoans. The protozoans. And after the protozoans, we came in contact with the cnidarians. With the cnidarians. Now after the cnidarians, we came in contact with the platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. After the platyhelminthes, we came in contact with the nematoda, or the nematode. After that, we came in contact with the mollusca. With the mollusca. After the mollusca, we came in contact with the echinoderms. Echinoderms. We came in contact with the arthropoda. And lastly, we came in contact with mammals. With mammals. Arthropoda, echinoderms, and we came in contact with mammals. And so these are the evolutionary trend in organisms from unicellular to multicellular. So we'll be looking at the last one, which is from aquatic to terrestrial. Aquatic to terrestrial. Now, as I said earlier, our lives begin from water. So it has been seen that when we talk about aquatic, we're talking about fishes, we're talking about protozoans and all that. So after Pisces, we have the amphibians. After the amphibians, we have the reptiles. Pisces are fishes. Amphibians like the toad, the frog. Reptiles like the lizard. Now after the reptiles, then we've got the birds, which are called the aves, or the aves as case may be. Now after the birds, we have the mouse. And so basically we have been able to establish the meaning of evolution, the evidence of evolution, the theories of evolution, and the evolutionary trend in organisms. Now a question will pop up on your screen. Try as much as possible to make attempt. And should you be having any issue or difficulty with this particular session, try as much as possible to go through the video over and over again. Now it's been a nice time out with you. Thank you.